Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Masterpiece Lounge. I am Chrisnatha, your certified life coach, author, and speaker, and I'm also your hostess for today's segment. So, this is where we encourage, inspire you to take action so you can get activated in your personal and professional life. This is the Masterpiece Lounge, it's a safe place. So, welcome. Be sure to let me know where you're tuning in from and also share this with your network. All right, so today we're going to be talking about prioritizing our tasks. Prioritizing our tasks. So if you're anything like me or who I used to be, right? I sometimes dealt with just being a procrastinator, getting so overwhelmed from my to-do list. So if you've ever been overwhelmed from your to-do list, you don't know which task to tackle first, or you end up getting so overwhelmed that you end up doing nothing, right? Then this segment is really going to be helpful for you. We're going to talk about some tips and some steps that you can take so that you can start prioritizing your tasks so that you can be successful and that you don't be some serial starter, right? You'll be a strong finisher, right? That's important. So we want to make sure that we're being productive, not just busy, but productive. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today, how to prioritize your tasks. All right. So number one, write all of your tasks down, whether they're big, whether they're small, whether they are immediate, whether they're long-term, write them down. Now, some of you may not like to write things down. Find a way to document it, whether you like a pen and pad like me, or maybe you just want to make a note on your device or your smartphone, right? That works too. But make a list, write it down. What are your tasks? What's important? What do you need to get done, right? Sometimes there's just some things that we forget until it's too late. So first things first, you need to get all of your to-do lists out of your head. I speak to a lot of people who say, "Oh, I know what to do. It's in my head." You have enough to think about, enough going on in your mind. Get it out of your mind and get it onto a page, okay? Or get it onto a screen if you're using your device. So start by compiling a literal list of action items that you need to take care of. Okay, and this is how you're going to sort them. You're going to sort them in categories. The first category is daily tasks. What is something that you just need to get done every day? Do you have meetings? You got to have some check-ins with your team, check-ins with the kids. What is it, right? What do you need to respond to? What's responding to any type of communication? So those are daily tasks. Like some examples of some daily tasks that you want to put under that category of your daily task and set a daily reminder. It's okay. I love my reminders, right? And then the next category is weekly task, right? So including action, this includes action items related to maybe some client deadlines, some presentations that you have, some project milestones that you have, some weekly activities that the kids have. Maybe you have that weekly date night. And yes, you should be able to remember date night, but life gets busy. So add it to your phone, right? Add it on the list, your weekly, under your weekly task. Then we want to talk about some monthly or month plus tasks, right? Which are focusing on tasks that are related to like long-term projects and goals. Okay, so that might be monthly. For example, if you have a goal, an annual goal, you may want to check in with yourself monthly to see how your progress has been from the month prior. Okay, so the categories to break up your list is in daily tasks, weekly tasks, and monthly tasks, or around that. Okay, so listing all your tasks as individual items is really, really important. And it immediately makes your workload feel less. Okay, so it makes it feel less overwhelming, and now you have to prioritize. You get to kind of see things broken up in different lists and categories, which helps tremendously. Okay, so there's different tools that you can use for this. There's Teamwork, there's Trello, there's the Google Calendar. However you want to kind of set up reminders where you can know that I'm getting my tasks done, right? All right, so The second thing you want to do, the second step is to determine which tasks are truly important. Determine which tasks are truly important and then determine what can wait. Everything isn't necessarily needing to get done today. We may want to get it done today, but if it get done tomorrow, it's okay, right? So you have to determine what that looks like for you. So let's say you're staring at laundry. A laundry list rather, of things to do, right? There's just a lot to do. So what do now? Not all your tasks are equally important. So it's important that you know that they're not all equally important. Even though we tend to gravitate toward the less urgent stuff first, right? Because we feel like it's easier, especially when we don't have things prioritized, but you want to make sure you tackle what's most important. Where's the urgency? So where are we attaching the urgency? So that's important. If it's not important, we can delegate it. You don't have to do this all yourself. Okay, or you can delete it if it's not that important. You can take it off the list. You decide. But if it is important and urgent, then you do it. If it's not so urgent, maybe you can schedule it. Okay, so keep that in mind as well. So who does this impact? I want you to think about that question. Who does this task impact? For example, is this specific task only going to impact you, your clients, your department, your company, your family? Who does it impact? And another thing I want you to think about is what is the reward or outcome of completing this task? A new client contract, more revenue, a project getting done ahead of schedule, a cleaner home, right? Just think about that. How does this benefit the family? We have more time for family time, right? So also think about what is the risk of not completing the task? What happens when you don't get this done? It adds more on your list of to do. Do you lose any clients or revenue? Do you lose any progress that you had on this goal or project, right? So think about that. Number three, the third step is to stick to a schedule that reflects your priority task. So there's no surprises here. You create this schedule, you figure out what this looks like because you know your schedule, right? So stick to a schedule that reflects your priority task. What's urgent? What do I need to get done? What's urgent? And how can I make sure that I get that done efficiently and in a timely manner? If you love tools, right, you can create a task board. This can be done in many different programs. I don't want to start listing them. You get to choose what you want to use, right? But you can create it like a task board and do it that way if you're more digital. If you love to take notes and write things down, the good old to-do list works as well. Okay, number four, step four is to tackle your most intense high effort task first. Okay, this is important. Get it done, guys. Tackle the most intense task first. Like I said before, sometimes we would rather go to the task that seems like less important and not as urgent, but you want to tackle the urgent stuff first. And if you need assistance getting it done, then you start to delegate, ask for help, right? It can seem overwhelming at first, but once you start actually tackling it, giving it the attention it needs, eventually you start to work toward your goal of completing that task. Step five is to focus on one task at a time. You don't have to multitask. So I know that this just set so many people free. You don't have to multitask. You can, but you don't have to. Try not to actually. When we are focused on one task, it's more beneficial. Multitasking might seem like a smart move, but trying to kick too many tasks off at the same time is actually a recipe for burnout, and we don't want that, okay? Just to throw a stat in there, a survey done by the Cleveland Clinic, only about 2.5% of people can multitask effectively. So you may be doing a lot of things, but it doesn't mean you're being effective. And you may start a lot of things and not finish, or you take so many breaks and then you procrastinate, right? And so we don't want that to happen. And so I want to make sure that you're focusing on one task at a time. Step six is to make sure you're giving yourself ample time for any given task. So give yourself time. Be fair to yourself, right? So be realistic with the time that you set aside for each task that you have. And step seven is to acknowledge what you realistically can and cannot get done. Acknowledge what you realistically can and cannot get done. For instance, some of us have goals that we're trying to meet, some milestones we're trying to meet by the end of the year. It is okay if it doesn't seem reasonable for you to push that into the next year with a plan to get it done then, depending on the priority. Okay. And so I want you to really sit down and think about that. Sit down and say, okay, what really needs to happen right now? What's urgent and what's not urgent? And to be able to break everything down in those different categories so that you can truly reach your goals and really begin to tackle these tasks, because we want to make sure that we're not suffering from burnout. We're not wasting our time. We're not serial starters and not finishing anything. We want to make sure that we're not procrastinators, that we're getting things done step by step, task by task. Okay, so number 8, if possible, make prioritizing your task a team-wide effort, whether this is in the workplace, at home, right? You can definitely make it a team effort if possible. Okay, so if you need the help, get the help. You don't have to do this by yourself. The sooner you learn to prioritize tasks, the quicker you can rein in your schedule. Rein in your schedule. Okay, so let's prioritize what's urgent. And remember that when we list all our tasks, we're breaking them up in 3 categories: daily tasks, weekly tasks, and monthly tasks. Okay, and then we can take it from there. So that is all the steps I have for you for prioritizing your task. And I hope that you really can take these steps and start to implement them into your everyday schedule so that you can really begin to be more effective in completing your task and not feel so overwhelmed or experience burnout. All right, guys, I am Chrisnatha DeRosier, certified life coach, author, and speaker, signing off until next time. Thank you for joining me today. And until then, be well. Take care.